Hey YouTube fam, and welcome back to Average Guy DIY. As it was already said, we're doing our final touches on the garage to make it watertight by installing the garage of vinyl weather strips. And I'll show you how we're going to do that today. As you can see, I'm using my new GoPro Hero 3 to get some of these action shots, and I find it's really handy. So what you see here is the garage door up against the aluminum fascia, and it's set in place pretty well. But what you don't see is it leaves a small gap, which I'll show you on the other side. And when you have a windstorm or a snowstorm, it can drive wind and snow into the corners of the garage door and into the garage. Looking at the back of the garage door from this angle, you can see the lights coming through, which shows that there are significant gaps between the fascia and the door. And this is not good. It needs to be covered, especially if you plan on insulating your garage in the future. And there are a lot of videos out there on YouTube that can show you how to do this properly. I find a couple of them do overcomplicate the process, so we're going to simplify it for you today. These are the garage vinyl weather strips that we will be using, and they can be found at any local hardware store. There are three, two for the sides, one for the top, all 9 feet long. The very first step is to measure the height of both sides, the left side and the right side, and sometimes the measurement will not be exactly the same. Then you want to grab your carpenter's square and strike a line. We started out by using tin snips to cut the vinyl, but we soon found out it is not the best for this type of application. Using the tin snips, it cracked the vinyl, but unfortunately we only have 3 of these, so we continued. On the next one we cut, we'll make sure to use a thin hacksaw to make sure we get a nice clean cut. Once you got all your measurements, the next step is to figure out how much you want the vinyl to overlap the garage door. In our case, we went with 3/4 of an inch. Another good thing is because we already had the aluminum fascia set up, there was lines pre-marked on it for us to set up our vinyl weather strips. You may not have this option, but we used these lines. Our next step is just to do a quick dry fit, just to make sure everything will work in place properly. I had to run inside to grab the drill battery. Next, we temporarily tacked the vinyl weather strip in place. Once that one's tacked in place, then we just move on to cutting our second strip, and as you can see, we switch to the hacksaw. Then we finish off with the tin snips. The hacksaw and the tin snips together make a nice clean cut. Then we continue to install. Then it's testing time. Left side first, next the right side. So far, so good. The last step was to measure and cut the final weather strip that will be going across the top of the garage. We purposely cut the left and right final strip shorter so that the top one could slide over top of both on each end. Noticing it was still a little too big, we had to take it down for one final adjustment. By this point, we got a little bit smarter and we pre-marked all the drill points for where the screws will be placed. Continuing the final installation, after this was done, there was only one last step.
You can't start down here. See what I'm saying?
Yep.
I'm going to start it up here.
Oh, that one's nice. Now that all the installation is done, what we decided to do is take out every screw and create a small bevel for it so that the screws sit nice and flush. And that's how it's done. As always, thank you so much for watching. If this video was helpful, make sure to hit that subscribe button and stay tuned to Average Guy DIY No Limits. Enjoy your day.